you ever pause between the lighting of one room and the next, step from shadow into brightness, and sense a hush larger than architecture? A hush that hints at something waiting, just past the edge of sight, patient as weather, certain as gravity. You feel it in hospitals, at funerals, in the quiet of night drives when headlights carve tunnels through darkness. You feel it when a clock shows the same digits as your birthday, and you wonder whether the number is an omen or simply a reminder that time is passing in all directions. That hush has a name older than every empire, a presence older than the oldest mountain, and it smiles because it is always ahead of you, never behind. Marcus Aurelius felt that smile on winter frontiers, where frost stiffened his armor and the breath of soldiers clouded lamplight. He wrote, "Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back." 2,000 years later, the sentence still resounds not as bravado, but as a gentle instruction for anyone willing to trade panic for poise. When people first hear the Stoics speak of smiling back at death, they often imagine a rigid grin, jaw clenched, pretending to be fearless, while fear screams behind the eyes. That is not the Stoic smile. The Stoic smile is soft and unforced, the kind you offer a dear guest who arrives precisely on schedule. It carries no hostility, no negotiation, no frantic desire to barter for extra minutes. It is the smile of recognizing a natural law. What is born must pass, what grows must wither, what begins must conclude. Marcus did not write his line to intimidate death or to impress soldiers. He wrote it as a reminder to himself that real peace cannot depend on any circumstance that time or chance can steal. True peace, he understood, must be able to stand unshaken, even while mortality sets the horizon. Imagine death not as an assassin, but as a quiet companion walking a few paces behind you from the moment of your first breath. Some days the companion lingers far back, barely visible. Some days a sudden illness, a near miss on the highway, or a name in the news draws the companion forward until you can feel its shadow at your feet. Modern culture urges you to outrun that shadow with distractions. New shows, new purchases, new opinions, anything but stillness. Yet the shadow remains. Seneca advised his students to turn and greet it. "No man can live well," he wrote, "if he does not know how to die well." To live well is to practice dying, not theatrically, but honestly, so that the knowledge of finitude beams every action with significance rather than dread. Consider how much energy is lost when you resist an unchangeable fact. You tense against traffic you cannot move. You fret about rain you cannot stop. You rage against aging cells, graying hair, slowing recovery. Each resistance is an argument with reality, and reality always wins on appeal. Epictetus likened such arguments to shackling yourself voluntarily. Seek not that events should happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will flow serenely. Wishing events to happen as they do includes wishing that death will come, when it comes, as it always has, by the laws of nature, indifferent to our timetables. The strength of Stoicism lies in this surrender, not a defeatist shrug, but a strategic acceptance that frees resources for what is still yours to shape. Picture your life as a stream. Upstream lies what has already happened. Downstream lies what has not happened yet. Between the two is where you stand, ankle deep in moving water. You cannot reverse the current behind you, and you cannot dam the current ahead. You can only decide how you place your feet, how you balance, how you cup your hands to drink. Death is the sea toward which every drop flows. The Stoic does not curse the sea. He privileges every sip because the sea exists. Remove death from the story, and most of your best moments lose urgency. The hug held a second longer, the letter written, the apology spoken before it is too late. The possibility of an ending sharpens outlines, turns ordinary daylight into gold leaf. Marcus kept his mortality visible. Each dawn he reminded himself that he might not see another sunset. Far from paralyzing him, the reminder galvanized his schedule. Meetings became shorter, words more deliberate, pleasures more savory. Today we think of time management as color-coded calendars and productivity apps. Yet Marcus achieved supreme efficiency by carrying a mental countdown timer. If you wish to taste this clarity, take one morning and pencil nothing into the first hour, but reflection on impermanence. Sit without phone or music. Think of projects left unfinished, of people who rely on you, of places you hope to see. Let the thought of not returning from sleep tonight illuminate the list. Some items will grow brighter. Some will fade. Bright items reveal true priorities. Faded items reveal borrowed obligations, masquerading as goals. Death, the ultimate accountant, helps you balance books faster than any workshop on focus. Stoicism is often caricatured as cold suppression of emotion. The truth is the opposite. Stoic practice broadens the range of genuine feeling by draining away counterfeit feelings, frantic envy, petty outrage, anxiety about variables beyond command. What remains is not numbness, but concentrated appreciation. When Marcus lost children to illness, an agony incomprehensible to most parents today, he wrote about tenderness alongside grief. Accepting mortality allowed him to grieve without drowning in self-pity, to cherish the living without demanding guarantees. A modern Stoic faces smaller partings daily. The aging parent's slower walk, the pet whose muzzle grays, the friend whose messages lapse. Each is a rehearsal for the final farewell, an invitation to lean into presence instead of leaning away in denial. Imagine carrying a coin in your pocket, engraved with two words, Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. Throughout Roman markets and battlefields, such coins reminded citizens that reputation, wealth, and power shrink to a single point at life's end. Today, you might carry a digital wallpaper instead of bronze, but the message remains. Mortality equalizes all stories. When you feel envy stirring because someone signed a larger contract, hold the coin and ask how that contract will matter when both of you are measured only by kindness and courage. When pride inflates because you bench pressed more weight, touch the coin and recall that muscle decays faster than gratitude in a young teammate's eyes. The coin is not meant to depress ambition. It is meant to refine it. Refinement requires daily practice. One exercise the Stoics loved was negative visualization, briefly imagining the loss of something precious. Close your eyes now and picture the chair you sit on dissolving, the room fading, your favorite person's voice unreachable. In that imaginative vacuum, notice two things: initial panic, then a wave of gratitude for whatever remains. Open your eyes to find the chair solid, the air warm, the loved one perhaps in another room, alive. Gratitude surges. You need not perform this exercise long. 30 seconds recalibrates entitlement into wonder. Another exercise is voluntary discomfort. Seneca wore coarse clothing and fasted despite wealthy status, so he would not fear deprivation later. You might try cold showers, silent weekends, or leaving the phone at home during errands. The goal is not masochism. It is to harvest proof that you can endure less luxury than advertising dictates. Death becomes less daunting to someone who has practiced letting go of smaller comforts. Contemplate the phrase, "Let death pass through you." What does passing through feel like? Imagine a wind moving through tall grass, Each blade bends, yet the root stays. You are the field. Thoughts, fears, and final breath will bend you. Stoic training strengthens the root. Values like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, so that when the final gust comes, the field bows gracefully and rises no more, but its seed has already scattered in deeds left behind. Grasping for immortality of the body is futile. Cultivating a lineage of virtue is within reach, contagious and lasting. People sometimes object, if I contemplate death too often, won't I become morose and paralyzed? Habit determines answer. If contemplation is passive brooding, yes. If contemplation is active orientation, no. Stoic meditation ends in action, not rumination. Marcus closed his notebook and addressed affairs of state. You should close yours and address affairs of life. Finish the budget, iron the shirts, design the code, call the estranged sibling. Action completes the circuit. Without it, reflection stagnates. When fear of death spikes, during turbulence, medical tests, late-night palpitations, Stoic breathing anchors attention. Inhale, counting 4, hold 2, exhale 6, hold 2. 6 to 8 cycles slow adrenaline. With heart steadier, repeat Epictetus's distinction. Some things are up to us, others are not. Whether the plane lands safely is not up to you. Whether you panic or pray or sit in calm readiness is up to you. This recitation turns helplessness into a pocket of autonomy amid chaos. The more often you practice, the quicker the pocket forms. Ask yourself which projects in your life would become urgent if a doctor predicted 1 year left. That year might actually be your timeline, undisclosed. Why delay? Is it fear of failure or fear of finishing? Stoicism calls procrastination by its true name, arrogance toward time. The antidote is to define the smallest actionable unit and do it before nightfall. The manuscript becomes 1 paragraph tonight. The marathon becomes today's 2-mile jog. The strained relationship becomes a simple text. Thinking of you, can we talk? Leaning into completion teaches the nervous system that fear is survivable, that the world doesn't end when you ship, but you do edge closer to regretting what you never shipped. Marcus reminds us that opinions of others fade quicker than morning fog. Seneca reminds us that wealth is not ownership, but correct use. Epictetus reminds us that slavery to impulse is worse than chains. These reminders orbit around the central cosmic fact. Mortality underwrites every contract. Accept this fact, and trivial grievances dissolve like sugar in hot water. Reject it, and you will keep stirring cold water, expecting sweetness that never arrives. Look at history's great tragedies of ego. Emperors who murdered rivals for praise, inventors who sued over credit, families torn by inheritance disputes. At root, all were men terrified that their names would vanish when their bodies did. The Stoic smiles at this fear, because he knows names vanish regardless. Even Caesar is now dust in libraries. What lasts is influence diffused through choices. Your influence may be global or limited to one neighborhood, one dining room, one child. Magnitude matters less than direction. Live in such a way that whoever drifts into your orbit leaves steadier. That trajectory can survive centuries. Meditate on sleep as rehearsal for death. Each night, consciousness dims, control evaporates, dreams blur identity. You lie down willingly because you trust morning will return. One night, morning will not. Practice releasing the day with gratitude instead of anxiety. Set tomorrow's clothes, write tomorrow's tasks, speak tomorrow's love tonight, so that if dawn arrives for you, you begin lighter, and if it doesn't, nothing essential was left unsaid. Finally, recall that smiling back at death is not the closing scene, but the posture you adopt, so that every scene before the last can be played with full presence. A play remains gripping, not because it lasts forever, but because actors know the curtain will fall. They savor each line, hit each mark, project to the balcony. Life asks you to do the same. When setbacks happen, and they will, treat them as plot twists that reveal resilience. When fortune surprises you, and it will, treat it as applause that should be answered with another true performance, not with vanity. The path to Stoic peace is neither grim nor gray. It is vivid, finely textured, saturated with the colors of what truly matters. It welcomes laughter, love, ambition, and song, but it anchors them in the soil of impermanence. Death walks through the Stoic not as a thief, but as a messenger. Live now, live honestly, live intentionally, because even the longest life is only a page in time's library. Smile back, not to mock death, but to thank it for the clarity that turns every breath into an unmistakable privilege.